I ain't even gonna cap, big dog. At this stage of the game, I did not know we would have to deal with Mystic Mine. But, so you got your outs to Mystic Mine, right? What's going on with y'all, big dog? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that your day, phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. Now, if you ask me, we're in a really weird spot for Yu-Gi-Oh! In the TCG. The biggest problem is we don't know when the ban list is coming out. Master Duel got a ban list. Duel Links got a ban list. We even found out niggas that was banned and couldn't even attend events before we got a ban list. At this point in time, I am seriously feeling stepchild vibes from Konami. I know exactly what it's like to being a stepchild, and they're treating us just like one. But you know, it's okay. I ain't even jealous of Master Duel and Duel Links players. We got one thing over them. I don't know what we have over them. Tell them craft resale value. Yeah, we got them there. I mean, these niggas even talk to each other. At this point in time, they're just playing chess with electronic cards. But that's actually what makes the TCG unique. Not only do we have the best cards available, a side deck and games 2 out of 3, we actually have an ever so evolving, ever so changing meta, and today we're going to be talking about just that. I went ahead and asked my Twitter, what is a requirement to be a meta deck right now? And Responsible Human Person actually replied with something that I think is really interesting for the formula of figuring out what are those top 5 decks. He says the deck needs to be decently consistent, able to play through 2 or 3 hand traps, have varied forms of interaction from your opponent, effects from the grave like floodgates and stuff like that, and then being able to build back your board and having a good plan for the eventual turns 4 and 5. With that in mind, it becomes fairly simple to build a top 5 meta decks using that formula. One of the decks that I feel hits all of those requirements is Mech by a long shot. Mech not only has the statistical backing, giving more tops to anybody that decides to play it than the high school cheerleaders, this is a deck that can genuinely thrive inside of the meta, strictly because you just play all of the hand traps. I have personally never been a fan of throwing shit together until it works, but Mech does a really good job at that. A standard Mech build will play at least 16 hand traps inside of the main board, meaning that you are going to open at least 2 hand traps 80% of the time. This is kind of incredible when it comes to be able to stopping some of the other top decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! The great thing about Mech is that you typically only need 1 to 2 Mech cards in your hand to be able to create a full combo. And if hand traps were the only thing that Mechs were about, then we would probably stop there. But being able to search floodgate cards like Rivalry of the Warlords from your deck to your hand and have 1 and 2 card combos, giving you the longevity to be able to play in turns 4 and 5, Mech is a serious contender inside of this format. The fortunate thing is that hand traps isn't the only way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! If you do play hand traps, in my opinion, you're going to need to be able to play a lot because these decks, they can play around a lot. Take, for example, another top contending deck, which isn't the best deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! In Sprite. Now, Sprite's actually good at what it does, which is summon way too many fucking monsters to the side of the field. The reason why this has so much importance and why it's so successful is because hand traps typically do one or the other. They either negate card effects or they destroy the card. And Sprite basically functions as long as you have a level 2 monster on your side of the field, you pretty much keep comboing. I think even if the ban list were to come along and hit the Frog engine, Sprite will still survive by using the Live Twin engine, as a lot of builds have been incorporating both. Kinda makes sense when you can draw a card, destroy a card, and make totally awesome. Yeah, that's stupid. One thing I have noticed about 7-Up players is that they really have started to move away from hand traps, realizing that not only is hand traps not good against Sprite, they also don't really care about you breaking their board. One of the biggest advantages in Sprite inside of this format is its recovery. It is ridiculous how this deck can actually manage even after its board is broken. It's almost like that time you got an ass whooping and you realize you still had an ass to sit on, even though it didn't feel comfortable to sit on. It's crazy how resilient that was, right? And it's also kind of cool that the trauma from our parents is almost the exact same as the trauma from Sprite. Never would have guessed. It should really come to no surprise that the best deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is Tearlament, and I fucking hate June. Dog, all I'm saying is if you know, you know. If you've seen Duel Challenge, then you know why I hate June. I like to think that when Responsible Human Person made that list, he had tier limits in line because it literally fits every single category imaginable. Not only is tier limit one of the strategies that is ridiculously hard to pin down because there's so many variants. There's King of the Swamp, there's Shadol, there's Danger, there's even Synchro. Seriously, f you, June. Why would you make a deck like that? And to be quite frank, anytime a deck ignores its particular mechanic, like how Sky Strikers ignore Links, like how Zodiacs ignore Exceeds, like how Baby Mamas ignore their bald tires, then it's always destined to be a huge problem, and tier limits are just that. And for the Yu-Gi-Oh players whose knees are starting to go out that need context, tier limit feels exactly what Lightsworn should have been and has a higher ceiling what Burning Abyss could ever be. It's scary. And you old f***s can give me as much pushback as you like to, but I've never seen a Lightsworn Danger or a Lightsworn Orcus deck top in the exact same format. Neither have I seen Burning Abyss. I have seen a different tier limit deck every single topping. They have not been the same. Now, those three are probably the undisputed best decks of the format. They have the numbers, the statistics. God, why the f can I not say that word? And also fit the outline. From here, I do think that the last two spots get debatable as there are a lot of great decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! I really want to hear what you have to say, and I'll even be posting deck profiles on my Patreon. But right now, statistically, I gotta still go with Punk. Now, Punk may not have the major YCS success as the other three decks, but once you get past the first three, it really is debatable. Those three decks that I just mentioned before take over 80% of the tops. If you want to argue about the other decks that took the 3%, I mean, be my guest. But the reason why I chose Punk is not only because it fits all of the categories, being able to play a ton of hand traps, so there's your disruptive cards, and then also being able to synchro summon into Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Calamity, there's your Floodgate card. This deck actually does have the fourth most online success, and I think that that's huge. I mean, not too long ago, players were playing Punk like how Cloud gets played in Final Fantasy VII, and boy, he get played. I mean, look, I ain't saying there's nothing wrong with liking girls, but it's definitely something wrong with letting girls play you like that. Now, Punk's take in the format is very similar to Mech. Not only does it play a ton of hand traps, this particular Punk deck can actually search hand traps. All you gotta do is summon Chaotic Ruler to Chaotic Magical Dragon. You know, it's almost like a content creator said that that card should be banned or something. It ain't me though, because I might be having second thoughts. Punk also has some of the most underrated support in Power of the Elements. Their Punk spell card is literally a Pot of Greed. It is a Pot of Greed. Dog, do you even know what Pot of Greed does? Like, seriously, what does Pot of Greed do? I think Punk genuinely has that fourth slot locked down. If Chaotic Ruler doesn't get banned, sheesh. And lastly, I want to make a genuine hot take right here. For that fifth slot, I really wanted to put Flunder Reese because of Dimensional Shifter. And I mean, come on, you should know how toxic Dimensional Shifter is. Literally in the comments section, Dimensional Shifter is actually a win condition. There's not a lot of decks that can beat a Dimensional Shifter, and Flunder Reese can 100% play it. I even thought about going full Glue Eater and saying that Eldritch is easily in that fifth slot. I mean, floodgates on floodgates on floodgates, the ability to continuously keep playing, and of course its splash ability almost gives it up to par with tier limits, at least on paper. I didn't pick any of those. I've noticed that people can't beat Mystic Mine for some reason. Why don't I just talk about the best deck to play Mystic Mine as of late? Runic is one of the stupidest strategies ever invented. I don't know how many times we have to say this, but Konami, do not make another alternate win condition. What are you, It has been proven that time after time after time again that alternate win conditions are not healthy for Yu-Gi-Oh! They provide no interaction, and Runic's literally just that. Big boys, if you couldn't out the Mystic Mine before, then you won't be able to out the Mystic Mine now. A lot of people think that Mystic Mine isn't compatible with Runic's because of Runic Fountain. That is one of the most important cards for the— no, it's not even close. So here's the game plan. You use Runic Fountain to get into your Mystic Mine if you don't have it already. You then activate Mystic Mine. When your opponent tries to destroy your Mystic Mine, you flip up any Runic spell card, special summon your Runic monster that protects your Mystic Mine. And your Runic cards guarantee that your opponent will deck out. This is hands down the most toxic state of Yu-Gi-Oh! We have ever been in. But this deck has actually won a couple of regionals as of late. I wish that I could say something heartwarming or something that feels really good at the end other than ban Mystic Mine. Oh. watch these videos. Yeah, that works right there.